everyone, thank you for stopping on by. Today, as you saw from the title, I'm trying out my first Sigma palettes. Yay! I've heard so many good things about Sigma eyeshadows, and I just wanted to see for myself, are they different? Are they good? Like, what's the deal with them? And yeah, I'm excited. This is just a side note, but I'm kind of shifting away from ABH palettes, and so I'm kind of looking for something along that line that can act as a substitute for me, and so I'm hoping that this is it. If you're a returning friend, thank you so much for coming on back. You know all about my Purchase or Pass series. If you are new, I'm going to try to start doing them on Wednesdays, where I compare a new release palette to what I currently have in my collection. So I thought it would be fun, since I knew I was getting this, to look and see if I wasn't getting this and just doing that video, how well I would have actually done. So that's what we're doing today. We're gonna swatch and compare and create a look. And yeah, let's get right into it. Here is what the box looked like when it came. Here is the inside. So you have, they make it very easy to look at their other products. We have a little flyer here with all the brushes. Then a code for take $10 off your next purchase. Coupon code, that's nice. And then what is this? A little flyer about how to clean your brushes, their high quality makeup, their cruelty-free vegan, a sample of their Sig Magic brush shampoo to give that a whirl. And then the palette. Okay, so here's what the outside carton looks like. Then on the back, it shows the shadows and the brush. This does retail for $49. I did use coupon code. You can usually, quite a few YouTubers, influencers have coupon codes with them, so I would always recommend looking for one. Ooh, and it's a fabric. It almost feels kind of like a velvety, and it's quilted. You can feel the stitching. There's a close-up. And the weight of the shadows is 7.34 ounces or 208.2 grams is the net shadow. Look how pretty that is. And then here's on the back what that looks like. There's matte, shimmer, and metallic shades. 14 total shades and one duo brush. Oh my gosh. Look at even the protective plastic. Can you see that? Even it has a quilted design on it. I like that. And here is, it has a mirror. Then we have gold, kind of almost like a rose gold, or it might just be the shadows making it appear that way. The brush does have a little bit of weight to it. So this is on one side the E38 diffused crease, and on the other side E54 medium sweeper. I like how they actually have, these are actual brushes that they make, so I like that. And yes, ooh. Again, here's a close-up. Now they do contain mica in their shades. If you want the full list of ingredients per shadow, that is listed on their site. But the nice thing, get this, I love this. They actually say where their mica is mined. If you didn't know, there is some negativity and bad things on some of how mica is mined. If you want a whole video about that, I'll leave that up here in the cards and link down below. But we know that theirs is ethically sourced because it is mined right here in the US, in Hartwell, Georgia. So that's the first time that I've ever seen where a brand says, yes, it's ethically sourced, but actually tells you the location where it's sourced. So awesome, love that. So I thought as we're going through these and I'm swatching the colors, that I would go through that exercise and see which of them I would have picked. I have them pulled out. So just going off of the palette picture online, what I would have picked for a Purchase or Pass in this palette, and see how close I was. The first shade is Hot, and that is described as a champagne metallic. So in looking, they didn't have the swatches online, so in looking at just the pans, I thought if you happen to have the Tati Aurora metallic, that would be the closest one. I'll put up on the screen just looking at the shades in the pan, how they compare, and then let's swatch them and see how close I was. It feels very soft and almost like fabric, the Sigma one. Ooh, okay. I think I would have done pretty good. So the top one is the Sigma and the bottom one is the Tati. Okay, the next one is Sophisticated, and that is described as a warm bisque matte. And actually, before we get started on that one, I do want to use that shade. So let's go to, these are gonna kind of be out of order, but I want to start doing stuff while I'm talking to you so that it's not so boring, hopefully. But let's go down to that second row, the Preppy, which that is described as an ivory pink matte. So I wasn't sure. I mean, you can see a little bit of the pink undertones. Crease Pro Slim Neon Earth. I thought the dessert color. Ooh. Okay, the Sigma, it feels like fabric. It is so soft. And that is just going in once. Yeah, so the Sigma one is definitely, like in the pan, I feel like you can't see that pink, the rose undertones as much, but I think when you're swatching it, it definitely is a warmer beigey color than the other palettes, than the other beiges that I have in my palettes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that Preppy color all over my lids. I don't have an eyeshadow primer on just because I wanted to see how it looks with no primer. Then we'll go on to the Sophisticated color, that second brown one. And oh, and what brush I'm using, this is the Sigma F63. I tried to pull out any Sigma brushes that I have. That is described as a warm bisque matte. It's going on pretty good. It seems like it's doing a good job with covering kind of my veins and imperfections. So for that one, I thought the Catrice Cosmo, this color right here, see how those look compared. That one feels pretty soft in the pan as well. Not quite as soft as that Preppy, but it's amazing. They feel, I'm trying to figure out, like, yeah, they feel like fabric. Maybe by the end of this, I'll have exactly like a better description, but okay, so this one, I would have been off because the top one is the Sigma and the bottom is the Catrice. So you can see the Catrice has a little bit more brown to it. I mean, you maybe could have got the same vibe, but there is definitely, the Sigma one is a little bit warmer, a little bit more rosy. And I'm gonna put that Sophisticated just kind of in the crease. And did you know that Sigma, their headquarters are actually in Minnesota? I did not know that. They are cruelty-free. Now the interesting thing is I could find them on the Leaping Bunny site as certified cruelty-free, but then when I looked at, usually I do cruelty-free kitty or ethical elephant, I think it's called, or logical harmony. Is that right? For some reason those don't sound right now that I'm saying out loud, but I think that's what it is. And I didn't see Sigma on there, so I was kind of surprised at that, but on their site they say they're cruelty-free, and then Leaping Bunny says they're cruelty-free. I don't really go off, like, if something says that they're PETA certified, just because from what I've read, like, that you can kind of buy your way almost. So I don't really use that for checking cruelty-free status. Now I want to move on over to Edgy, and that is described as a dark sienna red matte. So that one, I thought, this is the e.l.f. chocolate cookie, I think this is the e.l.f. palette, and the first row, this fourth shade, is the one I thought kind of looked the most similar. Surprisingly, when I was looking at my collection, that one was kind of a hard one to look as far as the pan. I think this e.l.f. one is going to be a little bit too like brick red, Yeah, see, the top one is the Sigma and the bottom one is e.l.f. So the e.l.f. one's got a little too much orange in it. I'm going to take a Sigma E36. Oh, actually, duh, what am I doing? I need to use the brush that came with it. So I'm going to take the medium sweeper side and go in with Edgy and just kind of pat that over here in the outer corner and then just kind of sweep it up. Then I'm just taking that original brush that I used to put on Preppy and just kind of blending this in circular motions just to kind of diffuse it a little bit. Okay, now let's go back to the Posh. That is described as a warm gold metallic. I thought for that one, the Milani, this is the Gilded Jewel, and Smoked Topaz look the closest in the pan. What do you think? Would you have picked that and said yes? All right, well, see that one. See, it's easier when they have swatches, I feel like, online than just going off of the pan, because swatches a lot of times look different than in the pan. But the top one is the Sigma and the bottom one is Milani. So yeah, we're definitely, as guessed, since this is like a pinkish rose colored palette, we definitely have more warm, more kind of brownish, warm, pinkish undertones to that. The Milani one is a little bit too cool. So the new mod, that next matte one, that is described as a nude mauve matte. So I was thinking Nomad Cosmetics, their Tuscany, and this middle color here. What do you think if you were comparing those? And let's see how they swatch. Okay, that one I feel like is pretty close. Again, the top is Sigma, the bottom is Nomad. The Nomad is a little bit more orangish than the Sigma, but I feel like if you were creating a look, you might be able to kind of get the similar vibe. Okay, and I'm going to jump down to the street style color. That is described as an urban brick red matte. So when I read that, I thought, okay, that seems good. You know, what about the Tuscany, this top one up here? I would consider that a brick red. But then when you compare the pan pictures, this one looks too red. And so every palette that I pulled out, they either looked in the pan too brown or too red. So that one, I couldn't find one in my current collection. So let's see what it looks like when I just swatched that one. Well, it does say an urban. So is that like an updated grungy? So it definitely is more brown than what you would think of, or at least what I would think of as a traditional brick red. Where would you put this? I'm going to put this, just pat it really kind of in the outer V, just a tiny bit, just to kind of darken it up. I just want to try to use as many colors as possible. And this is an e.l.f. eyeshadow C brush. Yeah, so that's going to be a good color if you wanted to do, just kind of darken things up a little bit. Okay. It'd probably be also good as one to wet the brush and use as an eyeliner. I'm going to do a cut crease just to, oh gosh, I forgot this. Look at this concealer. This is ColourPop and I've had it for a long time, but the thing came off. And there was still quite a bit left, I think. I guess I'm gonna have to use the tweezers or something to get that out. All right, we've gotta try this Avant-Garde color. So this is described as a light pink with aquamarine shimmer. So the whole like aquamarine undertones was throwing me off, like pink and bluish together. So that was another one that I was like, okay, if I was doing a purchase or pass, I'd have to say that I didn't have anything that was real similar to that, because all of mine looked either too gold, too silver, or too like champagne. So let's see what the swatch is. Oh, see, this is not how I would have thought it would have looked from this pan. What do you think? I would have not guessed that that was the swatch. Let's try with a brush first to see how that applies on the eyes. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of shimmer. I think that this is a pretty dense brush. If you wanted just like kind of a topper or something, I think with the brush dry, I'm getting a little bit more. It's still just kind of be like a topper, I think, a little bit. I don't really think it's showing like the crepiness of my eyes too much, But let's wet the brush and see. I always go into just one section of the pan. I think when wetting the brush, actually I'm getting less of that silver. I think that's an interesting color. See how I feel like over here there's more silver to it, and over here there's more of that rose. Glam, which is a timeless gold metallic. And so with that one, I was going to say the Tati Beauty Soothe Metallic. That's what the pans look like compared. So let's see what they look like swatched. Ooh, that one feels really, really soft. Okay, yay! I think that's pretty close. The Tati one is a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit more like a copperish, light color copper, but I think that's pretty close. What do you think? Vintage, this is described as an antique bronze shimmer. This first shade right here. Oh, that is pretty. I think fairly close. The Sigma one is a little bit darker, has a little bit more shimmer to it than the e.l.f. one. Okay, flashy. I have to try this one. That looks so pretty. It is described as a deep pink shimmer. So I thought the Tati Poet in Metallic, I think I did pretty good. The Tati one, the bottom one, is might be a little bit brighter pink, but I think it's pretty close. What do you think? Let's see how this one applies if I try it with my finger, kind of in the center here. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. The Vogue-ish color is described as a muted magenta matte. So we're back with Tati in Poet Matte. Okay, so here is those two. So Tati's is a little bit of a darker, brighter magenta. The Sigma is a little bit more undertoned, a little bit lighter of a shade. I just use a white just to kind of get some of this color off. And then I'm going to put concealer on so that we can kind of get a better idea of what this next color, Artsy, what that shimmer looks like. The Artsy color is described as a light eggplant shimmer. So I thought the e.l.f., this last row, that shade right there, darn. Okay, I was off base with this one. But in my defense, they didn't show the swatches online, but the e.l.f. one is definitely more kind of a brick reddish undertones, definitely more red. The Sigma one is kind of more of a grungy, I would call that kind of like a grungy pink shimmer is how I would describe it, because it kind of has that grayish, brownish undertones to it. Okay, this is making me feel better because, you know, I'm trying to be good this year about not spending too much because I've gone a little crazy in the last couple of years, but I have heard so many good things about Sigma's formula, and I just thought, like, which one? I was always like, what do I want to try? And so I just thought, well, I'll try this one. I don't know if it's like the best one to try, but I'm going to try it. But now going through this, I'm glad I did, because this shows that I don't have a lot of these colors already in my collection. So if you tap this on and then like kind of brush it, that's going to be a very, very light topper. You're definitely going to get more of, I feel like, what that color really, the uniqueness of that color, of that like brownish pink. I feel like if you tap it on with your finger, you're really getting to see more of that. But I got a little bit of fallout from the sparkle, but not much. I think if you're doing the matte shades in this one, you wouldn't have to worry about doing your eye makeup first. But if you're going to use the shimmers, I would say do your eye makeup first. Okay, the last shade is Grunge, and it is described as a smoky deep brown matte. So I thought this e.l.f. one, this last color right here, oh my gosh, I just cannot believe how soft. These almost remind me some of the Nomad, their formula, some of them feel like really soft and almost like fabric when you swatch them. It reminds me of that, kind of. Okay, so yeah, see, the Sigma one is more cool toned, and the e.l.f. one is a little bit more warm, kind of has that reddish undertone. Do is wet the brush and try that shade as an eyeliner. Just use a really small brush, even like a lip liner brush if you don't have an eyeliner brush, and wet it, brush it along there. I kind of pat and then brush it, try to get it as close to my lash line as possible because I don't have a huge amount of space. You would like to apply like shimmer shades. Do you use your finger, wet the brush, use a dry brush? What is your like go-to? Or do you not like shimmer shades? But if you do, what's your go-to method of application? All right, I'm liking that. And if you're like me, a lot of times I was trying to use like pink shadows or red shadows, and then I would look sick. Well, I have found that if you add brown to it, how I did with the brown eyeliner and like darkening it up with the brown, that a lot of times that will help like bring that down. So just as an FYI, if you're like me and you had issues with that. All right, here is my finished look. I am very happy with how it turned out. I so far am happy with how the shadows. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever and wherever you are that you're watching this, and that you will come on back and see me again on Fridays. I either do my forgotten faves or a foundation Friday in which we talk all about foundations. I'm just starting that this week, so those will be new for Fridays. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!